Hello everyone, I welcome you again to today's video that is a continuation from where we ended last time. Remember last time we looked at spatial data sources and collection. So today we want to now look at spatial data collection using GPS, understanding that spatial data can be these days is much collected or is mostly collected using a GPS. Again, facilitating this is John Sekajgo, the lecturer in the Faculty of Agriculture and Environment Sciences, Mountains of the Moon University. So GPS stands for Geographical Information Systems, which is one of the most powerful devices these days used for collecting spatial data. We view these tracks or the route, what called the route tracks, and you are able to feed them to your GPS and move or track to that particular place, making waypoints, especially when you are in the field collecting data about specific locations. You can use a GPS to collect this data, and when you take those points are the ones we refer to as waypoints. It can also be used in calculating distances in the field, area calculations. For example, if you are measuring the size of land, you can use a GPS, but also recording attribute data. That's the beauty with GPS. It does not only record the locations, but it allows you also to record or input attribute data. For example, if you are in the field and you are collecting information, you are taking the location of a certain place. For example, assuming you are taking the location of Mountains of the Moon University, GPS gives you also an avenue to input different attributes about the university. For example, if you want to know where the location is, the building, what is the size, how does it look like, if you want to include the color, you can be able to input it in the GPS. It has a keyboard that is just like a computer when you're typing. So if you record the location, it will give you the coordinates, the elevation, but also it gives you a platform or a space for you to be able to enter other data that is not necessarily coordinates, but it's just about that particular location or that particular physical feature that you are recording. So when we get started to a GPS, how it looks like, of course here I included this picture of what we call a Garmin ST-GPS. That is, of course, one of, it's not the latest, but it's one of the latest and commonly used GPS currently. This is Garmin ST GPS, and as you can see, it has different functions and different parts on it. One of them, if I start with one, for example, this particular GPS, it has an antenna, what we call the internal antenna, here labeled 1. It has a display, here the screen, which is number 2. If you check this is number 2, is a display. Whatever you do is displayed here if you switch it on. It has buttons here, which is 3. And normally, of course, it has different buttons as we are going to see. It has the buttons that you use to input data or to record the data. It has what we call a mini USB port. It's always behind it. You'll have a cap where you can open and connect your USB to the computer, for example, assuming you want to load the data or to download the data or save data from your GPS to your device. It could be a computer or any other device. You use it using the mini USB port or by connecting a USB to that port 5. It has also what we call M6X connector here, which is always another port for connecting other screens. It could be not necessarily the GPS, but also other devices. But away from that, you have also what we call the micro SD card that is always inside or below the battery chamber. So when you open the GPS behind, in order to insert the batteries, below the batteries there is always a space for putting the micro SD card, or what we call the memory card. Assuming you want to enhance the memory space on your GPS, you can also put a memory card. Away from that, you have what we call the battery compartment, of course, which is 8, and you can always access it by opening the GPS. So it has different parts, of course, and you can use these parts to operate the GPS. From that, of course, if you look at here, you have the battery compartment that you can use to install it, but also it has other parts for switching on and off. So it has different functions, and for you to be able to use, you just need to get this GPS and take time to understand, to study it, just like you study your phone when you have just acquired it. it will always have the on and off. It will always have the charging port. It will always have the USB port. Some of them have antennas. And you just take time to study your phone device and understand how to operate it. So similarly, a GPS works like a smartphone or a mobile phone. It has the buttons for which you can use to operate it. It has the on and off. It has the battery compartment. It has an antenna. It has a micro SD space, but also it has a USB port for connecting it. Now, how do you install batteries? It looks simple, but it's also important for me to mention because I get normal students who can be arguing, the GPS is not working, it's not going on. I've put batteries, but the batteries are new, but the GPS is not operating. Simply because the student has not paid attention on the terminals and the poles when inserting the batteries. So just for you to follow up, if you want to insert batteries, remove the battery cover, of course, by turning the D ring. Now here I'm talking about the D ring. Some GPS normally have a ring. If you look at this picture here, there is this D-like ring here. It's kind of metallic ring, so it will always be behind the Garmin, normally the Garmin ST GPSs. So when you turn that D ring counterclockwise and pull it up, it will be able to open and you'll be able to see the battery compartments. So insert the batteries while observing the polarities. It is very important to observe the polarities because if you don't observe the polarities and, for example, put the negative to positive, the GPS will not be able to switch on. So once you have inserted very well the batteries, replace, of course, the battery cover, and you can be able to turn the device on and off as you like. So inside the GPS, there are different functionalities you can do. Of course, you can be able to set the language. You can be able to set whatever you want to do with the GPS. So setting the language, you turn on, of course, the unit. Use the locker to select the language. Of course, the locker, as you see, as we shall see also, there are different places that you can use. For example, if you look at these buttons here, this is the lock, of course, that can help you to move around and navigate around your GPS. So we are saying you use the locker to select a language, as you can see. So of course, when you switch on a GPS, it takes about 30 to 60 seconds to acquire signals. So it's very important, and it's advised if you are going to operate your GPS, ensure when you switch on, you move outside, you go outdoor, because the GPS works with satellites, and depending on the area where you are, it may pick satellites quicker or it may take long to pick the satellite signals. And if you are in a very enclosed place, for example, if you are inside a very thick building that has very thick ceilings, the GPS may take long or it may even refuse to pick the signals. If you are driving, you are in a car, some cars do not really favor GPSs to pick signals. You are advised at least to open the window and hold the GPS outside the car window so that can be able to pick signals faster. And we always encourage students, when you are going to operate or to use the GPS to collect data in the field, give it some time to pick enough signals. Sometimes we use the satellite bars, and we encourage at least for it to allow to pick 4 and above, so that you are able to pick accurate data. I've got several cases where people send me data or go and collect data, and when they import the data into the GIS environment, it falls outside the intended study region. Sometimes it may even go outside the country, and it falls in a completely different geographical area, simply because you didn't pay attention to the accuracy and the strengths of the signals when you are starting your GPS. It is very important to be very careful, allow enough time for the GPS to pick enough signals. Normally, if you are very careful, when you switch on your GPS, it will show you the accuracy or the precision. We call it the precision. And most of these GPSs gives you a precision of up to 3 meters. And we encourage people, when they are going to collect the data, ensure that you have at least 5 and below GPS precision. So, and that can only be achieved if you give time for your GPS to pick enough signals. Yeah, of course, if it's necessary, turn on the GPS and wait for the GPS while it is searching for signals. Before it picks enough signals, normally a question mark will be flashing on the screen of the GPS before it determines the location. And once enough signals are picked and are got, the question mark will go off, and it will be able now to display, first of all, the coordinates of that place where you are standing. It will give you the elevation also of that particular place. Of course, the GPS bars indicate the satellite strengths, and when the bars are green, the device has acquired satellite signals. When they are empty, normally it means it hasn't picked yet the satellite signals. There are different other functions. For example, you have the mark, you have the find, first of all, the find button on your GPS, and this find button is used to open the search menu. So if you press find, wherever you'll be, the GPS will take you to the search menu. And if you want to mark a particular place, if you want to locate or to record the location of a particular place, you use the mark button. It doesn't matter where you are on your GPS or what is displayed on your screen. Once you press the button mark, the GPS will display the location of that particular place in terms of coordinates and elevation. So you use the marker button to record whatever location in the field. And this is one of the most used buttons in the field when you are collecting data using your GPS, the marker button. So press mark to save your current location as a waypoint. I'm also mentioning the word as a waypoint because when you go to your computer to download the data you collect in the field, this data will be saved as a waypoint or in the folder called waypoints. There is also a button called quit on your GPS buttons. The quit button is used to cancel or return to the previous menu. If you have been scrolling through your GPS and you accidentally went where you don't want to go, you use the quit button to go back to the previous menu or to cancel the option you had selected. And then there is also the enter button, which is the button used to select options and acknowledge messages. So if you are okay with an option displayed on the screen and you want to select that one, you use the enter button. It's like the OK button. You use the enter button to select an option. There is of course the menu button, and this one is used to open options for the page on, or what we call the menu for the page on the GPS, and that is currently open. So once you press the menu button, you're able to, if you press it twice, normally you are able to open the main menu. But there's also what we call the page button that is used, of course, to scroll through the main menu. So when you keep on pressing the page button, the screen will continue moving and displaying different main pages. And once you are happy with what is displayed, you just stop pressing the page button, and that particular main or menu page will appear and select, of course, menu options. And here on the screen, these are the up, down, left, and right arrows. The ones we call, or that's the place we call the rocker, and it is used to navigate up, down, left, and right of the page of the GPS. Of course, you have the in. The in button is used for zooming in. It stands for zooming in, and the out button is for zooming out of the screen of the GPS. So those are different buttons that can be used to operate the GPS. And you just need to make practice with the GPS and understand better and use them easily. Of course, navigating with waypoints and routes. Of course, waypoints, as I said, these are locations you record and store in the GPS device when you are in the field. Whatever you mark in the field is stored as a waypoint. And in order to mark the waypoints, of course, from the main page, you just press the button mark, as I've said. So when you press mark, what is displayed on the screen is the location in terms of coordinates and the elevation of that particular place. And there will be a space below that is there for you to enter the attribute data or to name what you have recorded. Assuming it's a tree, for you to enter the word tree. If it's a hill or a degraded area, for you to enter the degraded area or name of the village of that particular location. And you can use the rocker, as I said, the up and down button, to move to that particular page and be able to enter whatever information you want to enter. And once you have finished naming or entering all the information, you move your cursor of the GPS to done. Done will always be displayed on the screen once you press mark, and the next button will be done. So you move and select done to be able to finish the saving of your waypoint. Okay? So you can also navigate to the waypoints using the search menu, or you can also search quickly the main quickly by finding waypoints, tracks, and routes. Of course, from the main page, you can press find and select waypoints if you are looking for waypoints. You will select tracks if you are looking for the track point. And once you select a waypoint, the GPS, because it's also used for navigation, immediately it will ask, it will display the word go on the screen to ask whether you want to go to that particular waypoint that you have selected. And if you want to go there, you select go. And if you don't want to go there, you just cancel and you'll go back to the previous menu. It is also possible to edit the waypoints. And editing points, of course, you can only edit what you have created or something that's already created. So from the main menu, you can select or go to the waypoint manager, and under the waypoint manager, select the waypoint of interest, and once you have selected it, you can be able to edit the information there. Similarly, you can be able also to delete such information from the GPS. We can also view routes on the map, and from the main menu, you select route planner and you select the route of interest, and then you can be able to see it on the GPS screen displayed. Of course, you can also similarly delete the route by going to the main menu, select the route planner, select the route of interest, and after selecting it, you can be able also to delete it, as we shall see under the practical lessons. You can also navigate to the routes by pressing, of course, find. You can also view active routes from the main menu. If you select the point to the route, you can be able to see additional details of the route. And you can also stop navigation of the route if you want to stop it. Normally, for example, when you wanted to activate it, you pressed find, you found the route where you want to go, and you pressed go. Or assuming you wanted to navigate to a certain place, you looked for that particular area, and you selected it, and you asked the GPS to take you there. Now, when you want to stop that active route where you're going, and maybe you want to search another route or go to a different place, you just press the button find, and then it will ask you whether you want to stop the active route. And you just stop the active route, and it will be out of the navigation mode. But all these functions can be used by the GPS. And the other most important function is the distance calculation. You can be able to measure the distance using the GPS, and you can move the cursor around the map on your screen to measure the distance from your current location to that particular place of interest on the GPS. So it can be used to measure the distance on the ground. And away from that also, the other is you can use the GPS to measure the area also, as we shall see. So the device automatically begins measuring once you start moving from the current location. And when navigating or moving to the particular place, there is always what we call the compass. And this compass bearing will always point to your destination when you are navigating. So, and when you are moving away from the right direction, the compass will show you that you are moving out of the area of interest or the direction of the particular area you are interested in. So if it points any other direction, turn towards that particular direction until the arrow is pointing towards the top of the compass. Of course, as I've said, it really corresponds to the right direction. And of course, calculating the area, as I've said, if you want to calculate the area from the main menu, you look for the profile, you go to the profiles, and of course, select area calculation if you want to calculate the area. And once you select area calculation, the next on the screen that displays it says begin. So you remove and rotate around the area of interest, and once you are finished moving around the area, you say calculate, and it will be able to display the area in the units that are selected in the GPS. However, you can also be able to change the units as you like. For example, if it gives in square meters, you can change it to hectares, you can change it to kilometers squared as you wish. So after calculating the area, you can save the track. You save it as a track, in your GPS, and you can be able to retrieve it later on your computer and use it. As I said, you can be able, of course, to customize your GPS in terms of the units of measurements, in terms of the position format, assuming you want to measure the locations not in meters, but in degrees. Depending on what you want, you can be able to change. Just like you set the settings in your mobile phone. Just like you can customize the settings in your mobile phone, you can also customize different things within your GPS. You can change the position format. You can change the units of measurements, for example, from meters to kilometers. You can change from decimal degrees, for example, to latons, as you wish. So the only thing you need is really to take time to understand the GPS and be just like you understand your phone and be able to operate it very well. And lastly, the other thing you can do with the GPS is transferring the data, because when you collect the data on the GPS, you can do very little using the GPS after collecting the data. So you can only work with it very well if you transfer the data to your computer. So transferring the data files from the GPS to the computer and from your computer to the GPS can be done by connecting the GPS device to your computer and then you copy and paste different files. And this can be done using, of course, the USB port. Most of the GPSs have done, they use the old techno cable. So you can connect the cable, using a cable, your GPS to your computer and be able to transfer files either from your device, the GPS device to the computer, or from the computer to the GPS as you want. So that brings us to the third part of using a GPS to collect data. And I hope you've picked it very well. We shall end it at that. And in our next video, we shall be looking at how to get started with the GIS software. Because having understood GIS, having collected data with the GPS, now want to see how do we work with this data in the GIS environment on the computer by looking at how we get started, how we operate the GIS software, and how we import in data, how we bring in the data from wherever we have saved it into the GIS environment. I want to thank you very much for listening in.